Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on some new seats for our Bronco. So these are the seats that we got. I found these in a 2012 Expedition. They're King Ranch. So I've always wanted a set of King Ranch seats or a King Ranch trimmed truck. I think they're really nice, and I don't know, it's a pretty cool color scheme to me. So yeah, I finally found one of these. I've been looking for months online, buying a set off eBay maybe, and then I was at my local junkyard, and there was just a Expedition that had these in it. So they're not perfect by any means. Like, we got some wear here, and this seat, I don't know who was sitting in this seat, but this thing is wrecked. Same with this one, which is weird that the passenger seat's wrecked more than the driver's seat, but I don't know. That's how it is. We've got dye coming for that. That'll be another video of us dyeing the seats. And then in the future, we're going to be putting it in the Bronco, because the Bronco maybe is not seat worthy yet. Yeah, so that'll be a future video as well. But today, we're going to be working on getting this power stuff to work, as well as our heated and cooled seats. And we're going to do that so that it will retrofit into the Bronco, and we won't need any of the CAN bus stuff or the control modules. So, all right, so here are some of the items I have. We got some relays, we got some switches that look like this. We're gonna need, this is for our hot and cold seats, so it'll be cold, off, hot. So it's a on, off, on, off, on. It's an on, off, on switch. We got some fuses, and so we can make 12-volt fused so we don't blow anything up or burn down the seats. I got these because I don't have a fuse block in the truck yet. So we're just gonna run off these, that way we can hook it to power and make sure it works. Currently our power source, one of these dudes. So yeah, it's 20 volts, but it'll work. 4 switches, relays. Then I got this pretty cool plug kit. Yeah, so these are like Deutsch connectors or something like that, Deutsch connectors. But they've got these pins. They look like this when they're crimped onto your wire. Don't mind this wire, it's a little big for this pin, so I made it work. This won't focus at all. And there we go. So 14 gauge fits in there properly. It comes with one of these fancy crimper boys. Mainly what we're going to need this for will be our 4-pin, and you'll see what's going on with that. But this will be pretty much what connects the seat to the truck afterwards. So we'll have one of these in the truck, one of these in our seat, and then you just be like boop, boop. And that should be all it takes. You unbolt the seat, pop out one plug, good to go. You can kind of see I already started on this one. Shh, don't tell nobody. I'm going to take you with me on this one though, discovering how it all works, so that you can do this at home, hopefully. Alright, so first up we got to rip off all these plastics. Careful when you're taking off the side one, there's a bolt up here, right here. So you don't just go ripping this joint off. The rest of it is clipped back here, so. But yeah, there's a bolt under this one. This one just clips off, so. Alright, be careful with these yellow boys. These are airbags. One is the seatbelt retract for when you get in an accident, and the other one is your side curtain airbag. Honda, designated by that bad boy. So yeah, don't put 12 volts to that. That's could end your seat exploration right there. So the big problem with these seats is that they have this memory module. And you can't just hook up power to the end of this and then start moving the seat, because everything travels through this memory module. The signals come in from your switch, into your memory module, out of your memory module, into your motors. And I think this has an issue because it has to do with like your mirrors and your steering wheel and like all that junk. So if not all that's connected, then this thing just is dead, I guess, from what I understand. I got this online off of another YouTuber's video. I'll leave a link to his stuff in the description. I'm pretty sure he does this stuff for a living. He does interior swaps on Super Duties from newer stuff to older, or putting newer stuff in older stuff. He does dash swaps, seat swaps, all that stuff. So this is his product I'm showing you. So this is Super Duty stuff, and I guess 15 to 17 F-150 stuff. But I'm hoping that a lot of these wires are either the same or will lead me in the direction that I need to be going. The passenger seat, I'll show you that later. Stupid easy to make work, but this one, yeah, all this stuff's got to get chopped off, I guess. All right, this should be the last 2 wires in our diagram here for all of the seat functions here to work. So we got, what is this, white brown going to gray brown right here, violet brown going to violet orange. And now all of our functions should work. So that was the backrest. So she works. See, forwards, backwards, nice. The polarity's right, so we got backwards, forwards here. Let's see if we can see this. All the way back, all forward. So the rail moves the opposite way the seat would go. If you think about it, it makes sense because the seat's bolted to the floor, so. Alright, and then you got up and down, so rear down, rear up, front down, front up, and then this is the lumbar. It's the only one that's been run the whole time. These 2 wires here never got cut. They ran straight from the switch straight to the motor. Those are the only ones that did that, because I guess lumbar doesn't matter if you have memory for some reason, but whatever, I guess that makes sense. Not really, but whatever, we'll take it. So yeah, it was pretty straightforward. I found the 2 pins in the switch plug that needed power. There were these 2, so you have black and then green red, I guess, green brown maybe. Coming out of this, I put the bigger wire on there because these are like 20 gauge, these are 14 gauge. Also, this is extremely accurate. All of these switch wire colors were there. All of these motor wire colors were there. The only thing I deviated on was these because I didn't pull power straight into the seat. So yeah, if you want to hack up your harness like I did, your pins would be, if 1 is up top over here and then goes across, so you got 1, 2, 3 would be ground, and 4, 5 would be power, which I put here, 3, 5, straight to the switch. Everything comes out of the switch to your motor. So if that's how you want to do it, I mean, that's how I'm doing it. Because I want to clean up the wiring, I don't want this gigantic plug down here with only 2 random wires going into it. So yeah, so now let's get started on this heated cooled seats, see what we can do. So to figure out how this heated cooled module works, I open up the back here, which is just zippers. It's pretty easy, and then you can see that these 2 split off after it comes in through the harness. So you got these 3 wires that go to your fan, and you got these 4 wires that go to the like the heating cooling module. I think it's called TED, thermal emitting device, something like that. So it looks like this violet one here is your power, and then ground is your black. I thought red was power at first, but when you do that, it does nothing. So it's definitely violet and black. And then I was looking at this part of the harness here, and you get this blue, yellow, green, green. So I figured blue and yellow were what actually operate the TED. So trace those wires back here, ends up being blue, orange, and yellow, blue, yellow, light blue, yellow, green, something like that. And it's pretty simple after that. So I also traced back our fan wires. So you got, in my case, this, again, keep in mind this is all Expedition 2012 King Ranch stuff. Like, it could be different on whatever you're working on. It's clearly different on the Super Duty. So just keep all that in mind, right? So our green brown is our ground. we got our negative there, and then our gray orange is our positive, so we'll plug that one in here. Well, I guess you're just gonna have to trust me. It's on, it's blowing, sucking from here, blowing through here. All right, so then the next part is you take your wires for your thermal emitting device, and you have to see which side goes hot and which side goes cold. Whatever side's blowing out of this vent will be the opposite of what's blowing into the seat. So if you want cold blowing into the seat, this needs to be hot. If you want hot blowing into the seat, this needs to be cold. So, show you thermal camera or anything, you have to trust me on this one. So I've found out that yellow-blue is cold into the seat, so it should be hot underneath, being positive, that is, and then the other one would have to be negative. And it's hot. It is, just trust me, it's hot. So, and then when you swap them, you should get cold coming through, cool air, I guess. And that's what happens, which means over here, we should have hot air, some way, shape, or form. It definitely blows less than I thought it would, like it's a little underwhelming. But I guess if you were sitting in the seat, you would be like in direct contact, so it'll be different, hopefully. But it definitely blows like crazy down here. So that's what I got there. So we know these two control our fan, and these two switch polarity to decide what is happening in our seat, right? So power here, negative here equals hot seat, negative here, power here equals cold seat. So, and yeah, so now I do the same thing with the back. So now we know which ones to which on our fans are going to be tied together, and then we should know which ones of these are going to be tied together, right? So we could tie both these together, so it all works on one switch, right? So now it comes to figuring out how to switch polarity based on your switch. This is everything through here. I've seen it done a couple ways. So yeah, the other way I've seen it done is with these two relays, dual pole, dual throw relay, or two of these relays. Both systems have a switch. This is the switch I have. These are the wires that came with it. I'm not going to use that, but or maybe for mock-up, we'll see. But yeah, now it's time to figure out how to make this switch the polarities based on our switch position. Wish me luck. All right, so here's what we got. We've got power going to the switches, ground for the seat, and the heaters. So switches and heaters and coolers here. These two are your hot. Hot is blue and cold is orange. I got it backwards, but that's okay. And then this is your dual pole, dual throw relay, and then the other relay running the fans pretty much. So my wiring's a mess. This is all for the switches. I gotta shorten those, and then it all is just gonna run out into a pretty little plug after this. So gotta see if it works. So if we switch up, it should be hot. Yeah, I think so. So the fans are going. And we're blowing cool air. Very nice, very nice. That means the seat is getting hot. Then we go down to go hot. And we're blowing hot air. Oh, sorry, down to go cold. We're blowing hot air, so the seat should be getting cold. And that's it. So one of these flips. You can see it move in there. And that's how it switches polarity. All right, so while I was editing this video, I realized that I didn't really show exactly how this is like working, more or less alluded to how it's working. So I drew up a quick diagram so I could show you. Also, sorry about the crazy camera movement. I don't know what I was doing, but it's like swinging back and forth, so don't get sick on me. All right, so you've kind of already seen this and how this works. But I drew this up really quick in the computer, and it shows how this is working. So you can kind of see that I used one ground for everything. You got ground for your relay, ground for your fans, whatever you can do, however you want with that. That's kind of where this plug comes in. This is a ground for the switches, it's a ground for the fans, and it's a ground for the TEDs. So it's all just tied together. And then pretty much use the relay backwards, right? So if you want cold, you got your power coming in. Normally, in a normal relay situation, you'd have power sitting right here waiting. It would always be connected to 87A, non-energized, and 87 energized. But we're using it backwards because we always want power in either position. We want power to the fan. So power out instead of in. Our power ins are going to depend on whether we want cold or hot, or what you'll see in the video. And that's because power is coming straight through. This is already connected, so it runs straight to your fans, and then it's going to run over here and sit on pin 1 of your clear relay, which is normally closed to 5, so you get power on. So we're giving power to our cold side of our TED, and then those are tied together. So you can kind of see that there. And then your ground is connected here because we're using these two, right? And it's already connected. Boom, grounded, power. So that's how you get cold. There's no relay clicking, cold just works. When you want hot, power from the switch is going to switch both relays, right? Because you're connected here and here, boom, closes that relay. And you're connected here, ground, closes that relay. And then what's happening here, since now we're connected from 30 to 87, power can go straight through. And since we have power straight through, power can also come on this blue wire. Same thing happens over here. This closes and flips our relay to the opposite direction. So now we got pin 6 sitting on pin 4, which is getting power right here. Even though pin 1 is still getting power, you've now connected to pin 3 instead of pin 1. So pin 1's just sitting waiting, doing nothing. Pin 4 is now powering this side, 12 volts, hot, ground. And that's basically how it works. I drew this up. I'm not an electrician. This may or may not be like proper. I got a little ground symbol right here. That's about as professional as I get. So yeah, I hope that helps you out. It took me a long time to figure out how that was working. Like I said, I took a couple screenshots of some videos of other people that had set this up. Yeah, and that's pretty much how I figured it out. And then once I got it working, I was like, oh, that makes total sense. So yep, hopefully that helps you. Back to the video. So now it's time to mess with our plug, finally. I'm really excited to do the plug because I don't know, I've wanted to mess with these plugs for a long time. They look really cool and they seem pretty robust, so yeah, I'm excited. Let's see what we can do here. Let's drop in the pin. And we'll pick a wire. And you crimp it. Dang, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice, not gonna lie. Oh, that's awesome. All right, let's see if we can put it together now. They're all in. And then you just pop this little dude in there. Boom. There we go. That's our seat plug. I think I left enough room to go that way or this way or whatever. So, all right, so this is the debauchery that I already have with the passenger seat. So you can see I kind of got a jump start on this. Yeah, so now we just got to figure out kind of how this stuff works. I already know which one my power and ground are. That'd be these two. So power gray with a red stripe, and then our black and white is our ground, and that goes straight into our switch plug here, and then everything comes out straight to the motors because there's no memory module in this seat. All you have to do is apply power to these. Yeah, and then that works. And this is all the wiring that we chopped out of the seat. So, yep, there's our memory control module, this is our heater module, which was in the passenger seat, and then it passed through all the wires. That's why there's so many wires coming through these plugs. Because I think all the heated seat comes from the passenger side to the driver's side, so yeah, but yeah, you can see this is everything we chopped out. So we definitely added some wires too, but not nearly this much, so yeah, weight reduction. I've also built this little test setup here. This will plug into the seat, will catch fused power and ground, and then this is power and ground to the switch. Ground to the switch isn't really necessary, it's just for the lights to light up on here, and then the power is obviously for the heating and cooling, which goes into here. So I'll set that up real quick. All right, so now we're kind of set up. So now we got our switch, which will send, let's see, should be down for cold and up for hot. So if we switch to cold, we feel hot out of our TED. You can hear the fans kick on, and it's getting hot. Off, cold. You can hear our relay kick. When I switch to cold, you can see it too. Yeah, I think overall this wasn't too hard of a project. I mean, it was a little difficult if you're scared of wires, but I don't know, it worked good. I'd say if you're gonna do this, make sure you have a bunch of these blade connectors for 10-12 gauge, because you're gonna need them. So this is super exciting. I can't believe that I actually got the seats to work properly with heat and cold. There seems to be a lot of people trying to figure it out online, but I mean, just taking some screenshots off of videos and looking at what their wiring looked like, I mean, it wasn't too difficult to figure out. This thing's super satisfying to make work, especially that click. I mean, that might get annoying when you're in the truck, but theoretically you'd only click it once or twice. So, but yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna end this video. I hope you learned something. I hope this wasn't too confusing. It was a little confusing when I first started looking at it, but after I got it working, I was like, oh, that makes total sense. So yeah, let me know if you got any questions, comments. Like I said earlier, I'll leave a link in the description for that other video where I got most of this information. The guy does it for a living. He just does interior swaps and dash swaps and stuff like that. So hopefully that helps you guys out. So he also builds these harnesses. So if you want something like this, you just pull this harness off your seat and you send it to him, and he'll do this to it, so you don't have to mess with it if you're not feeling up to it. So yeah, I'll leave his video in the description, and you can check that out. But yeah, I hope you guys learned something. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below, and I'll try to get back to you. I'll see you guys in the next one.